When you finally move into a new home, you expect a baseline of privacy. You close the front door, and the outside world stays outside. 2 weeks after I arrived, that peace was interrupted by the first of many official letters. My bin placement was wrong, my front door was the wrong shade of blue, my hedge was too high. For the next 11 months, I was trapped in a cycle. I would receive an HOA management letter, adjust whatever met the letter of the law, and write a response pushing back against the complaints that were clearly exaggerations. I eventually learned that my neighbor, Gerald, had been filing these exact same complaints against the previous occupants of my house for years. I was caught in a defensive war of attrition. I was losing because I was allowing Gerald to dictate the tempo and the subject of every interaction. The process was exhausting. Each time I responded to a letter, Gerald immediately escalated the matter to the HOA board, ensuring the conflict never ended. This diagram illustrates the core of the problem: information asymmetry. Gerald possessed the complete dataset of the community rules, while I was operating on fragmented, reactive information provided by his complaints. Gerald's strategy relied on a specific probability that a new homeowner is too preoccupied with moving in to sit down and study the governing bylaws. Fighting a reactive war in a system where your opponent knows the boundaries and you do not is a mathematical path to burnout. In month 12, I stopped writing responses. I stopped fixing things. I shifted from a defensive posture to raw research. I spent a full weekend analyzing all 47 pages of the HOA rulebook. I read every word until the information asymmetry between Gerald and myself was gone. Then I walked the property line. I methodically documented Gerald's home, cross-referencing his property against the exact rules he used against me. I found the first 2 violations on the perimeter. His fence exceeded the height limit by exactly 11 inches, and his storage shed was built inside a restricted boundary zone. Next were the temporal and structural violations. He had a caravan parked on the drive past the permitted number of days, and 2 garden structures in the back that had never been approved by the board. The 6th violation was a security light. It projected a beam that violated the exact same light pollution guidelines Gerald had cited in his complaints against me. The audit was conclusive. By systematically applying the system's own rules, I found 6 clear violations on Gerald's property. I had none. On Monday morning, I submitted a formal 6-point dossier to the HOA board. It included photographs, measurements, and the specific rule reference for every one of Gerald's violations. This created a bureaucratic trap. Because the complaints were documented with physical evidence, the board was legally bound by their own bylaws to investigate. The resolution was swift. The board conducted an inspection, confirmed all 6 violations, and issued Gerald formal enforcement notices with strict timelines to fix each one. The complaints about my property stopped that same week. Returning fire with bureaucratic precision had achieved what 11 months of cooperation could not. Gerald's 11-month campaign relied on a specific hypocrisy. He spent nearly a year weaponizing a code that he was actively breaking on his own property. The moment I equalized our knowledge of the rulebook, his entire strategy collapsed. He could no longer rely on me being ignorant of the system we both lived in. It is easy to see HOA rules or corporate bylaws as nothing more than restrictions on your freedom. In reality, these rules are a form of invisible armor. They govern every participant equally, providing a shield for anyone who takes the time to understand them. This armor only works if you read the manual. Has a system's rulebook ever been the thing that saved you from a hypocritical attack? Tell me your story in the comments.